this white bestiality, this incredibly unconquerable ignoramus, when he takes office, then we've got to continue to chip away at the power that he possesses. What did black people have to do? Go back when we had none of this. Back in
Yes.
Reconstruction, back in the Red Summer, when black blood flowed. Our ancestors built institutions. They created sororities and fraternities out of
Wow.
nothing. They created the possibility of a black future. And Howard Thurman said, never resist the temptation to reduce your dreams to the event you're confronting now. The
Come
event
on.
you're confronting now will not last always. So this is what he said.
Well,
Either you're going to be a prisoner of the event you
well.
confront, or you're going to be a prisoner of hope. I
Come
choose to be a
on.
prisoner of hope. I choose to be a prisoner of hope.
Help yourself.
If
Help
somebody
yourself,
don't
preacher.
have a
Help
collect,
yourself.
who got a collection plate? Pass the collection
The
plate.
doors of the church are open.
This white bestiality.
How do you say white bestiality? What is Michael Eric Dyson he's supposed to be an intellectual. Welcome to Let It Be Known. Listen, I think so, look, I'm with you on that, RNG, because this dude, he goes sometimes. It seems like he goes where the wind blows. I'm sorry. So listen. You can have your Michael Eric Dysons, but that was pretty hilarious. But the other thing is, black folks, stop having your ears tickled. It's like he's saying all that, and they're like he's preaching, and they're in church. Listen, it's the time to have your ears tickled is over with. Oh, that nonsense. I think it's nonsense. I think it's just talk. Stop talking. Go be about it. Listen, Ellen DeGeneres, she says she's out for good. She's over in England. She says she's out for good. And I'm not saying you got to leave. And because Ellen's in pretty much the same boat we black folks in, because she's in the LGBTQ community. But I'm saying, listen, there needs to be some underground discussions that's not like that. There needs to be some serious. All right, roll your sleeves up, put on several pots of coffee. We're gonna be here a while. But whatever goes on and is said in this room stays here. Only the black folks got to know about it. We ain't gonna broadcast it. You need some plans, folks. You need some plans. Absolutely need some plans. It's Friday. So I know it's it's the weekend, it's party time, whatever. Well, listen, Eddie Murphy said it a long time ago, playtime's over. You got dictator in chief going in there, white supremacist in chief. And look. So we're gonna talk about the fact that he's got to get a new attorney general, and he didn't hesitate to pick the whitest of the white, the richest of the rich, the MAGA of the MAGAs to fill that role. And Byron Bumbling Donalds is on CNN moping about it. Oh no, I'm sure that this going to be something for me. I'm sure I don't have to go in the fields and pick cotton. I'm sure that there's something in the big house for me. That dude is delusional. Absolutely delusional. Chuck D does these drawings, and he drew this picture. I mean, he's an amazing artist, not just hip hop and stuff like that, but drew this picture of Byron Donalds and Tim Scott, and basically painted that same picture. They looking to get in the big house. They out there in the field with everybody else. They are, well, at least boss. Can we instruct the slaves? We'll whip them if they get out of line. Ignorant Negroes. They stuck without anything. These people are awful. This is an awful. It shouldn't have taken to 2024 and a white supremacist and a whole billionaire supremacist organization taking over for us to realize how messed up this country was. Because when you really think about it, folks, and it was really in a lot of ways sad but surprising. Yeah, he went on CNN begging Orangey. You got to check it out if you haven't seen it. But with all of this stuff, you think of America, and we're in 2024. Did you really, when it all came down to it, did you really think? Shame on us for thinking, and anybody for thinking that they wouldn't even put a white woman in the White House. What makes us think that they was going to put a black woman in there? What makes us think that Joe Biden was going to be an ally? Folks, there are no ally. He's sitting there now talking about he signed some executive order about some railroad situation in New Jersey. I mean, I wonder if the executive order includes making sure that there's no underground railroad for the next 4 years or so. You got this one federal judge confirmed. Where's the rest? Where's the rest? Clock's ticking, Joe. Clock is ticking. I mean, where are the other plans? Where's the executive order to say, listen, I know how much in peril black folks are in. I know how much in peril the gay community is in. Where's the and here's the deal from a presidential order. Where's the executive orders on that? I mean, what is he gonna wait till January 19th to try and do something? He should be doing something from November 6th. Every single day he should have been doing something by way of executive action to protect what he helped to lose. Any semblance of civility, any semblance of civil rights. That's why we're hoping, and we're gonna be talking in the next few days about civil rights. We've even lined up Reverend Al Sharpton to come on the show next week. We're gonna be talking about civil rights, and we hope to get Kristen Clark on as well. We're in talks with her office because y'all need to know a lot of stuff. We all need to know a lot of stuff, and we need to know what can we do? What can we do? I think you may see Sharpton Tuesday or Wednesday. Not sure yet. That's up to Greer. You know, she she doesn't she doesn't reveal certain things to me until it's a need to know basis. So you have to figure that one out. Um, Another thing, folks, is Friday. So I'm gonna say this is unscripted, but expect us in the coming days, coming weeks, and I'll give you more information later. We're gonna be talking to some anniversaries of Michael Jackson and some highlights of Michael Jackson's career over the next couple of weeks. We'll be bringing you little tidbits here and there on little segments, maybe not even segments, but just a couple of words about Michael Jackson over the next couple of weeks. And there's a means to that end. We'll get into that as time goes on. You'll figure it out as we lead up to what we plan to be a very special broadcast that's coming up in the next month or so. So we'll keep you informed on that. Orangey says you have to ask Sharpton about him being on Morning Joe. All I get is the runaround. We got Morning Joe questions for Al as well. They did the old let's go kiss the ring thing. So how about Jussie Smollett? The Illinois Supreme Court overturned his conviction, ruling that his second prosecution for filing a false police report violated his constitutional rights. The court determined that Smollett was unjustly prosecuted after an earlier agreement with state prosecutors had resolved the charges. Remember, in January of 2019, Jussie reported being the victim of a racist and homophobic attack in downtown Chicago. He claimed that two men physically assaulted him while shouting slurs and declaring, "This is MAGA country." The report initially drew national attention and widespread condemnation of hate crimes, and authorities later accused Jussie of orchestrating the attack, alleging he recruited those two brothers to stage the event, the incident. He was charged with felony disorderly conduct for filing a false police report. And so this is so in this particular case for sure, that the court, make no mistake, didn't say that Jussie didn't do this. They're just saying that his case was resolved, and then they violated his rights by trying him again for the same charges. That's called double jeopardy. And it was pretty obvious why it was going on. Because remember, when they resolved the case, initially prosecutors dropped the charges because Jussie forfeited his $10,000 bond as part of the agreement, and he completed community service. Then all this public outcry about the case, people were angry with Jussie. And so a special prosecutor came on and revived the case. And then he was later convicted on 5 counts of felony disorderly conduct in 2021. And that was based largely on the testimony of those Sandero brothers, who said Jussie planned and directed the assault. It was all staged. And so he was sentenced in 2022 to 5 months in jail. Now, he did serve just 6 days before being released pending an appeal. So yesterday, the court ruled 4-2 in Jussie's favor, citing violations of his due process. And in the ruling, the court said, "We hold that a second prosecution under these circumstances is a due process violation, and we therefore reverse the defendant's conviction." And so Jussie can now hopefully move forward with his life. And apparently, the guy is pretty talented. And so hopefully he gets another gig, another real solid gig like he had on Empire. Southbound 3000 said, "Great justice for injustice." And Orange G says, "In this case, it was the law, not feelings. It's very rare for a black man to receive this type of justice." And these are the things, like, Jussie did something stupid, and you say he deserves to be punished. But these are the things that I talk about when you have to be careful about, and of course, in this age of social media, people don't care, but you got to be careful, especially when it comes to African Americans, when you start, oh, they get what they deserve. Not when it comes to the law and the courts, especially the courts, because there was no reason except the fact that this guy was black, and probably because he's gay, that they went after him again on the same exact charge. It's clear double, and nobody cried out at that time except he and his family and defense attorneys and some of the cast from Empire also, that this was something's wrong with this. Something's wrong with this. We cannot like a person, think that they're the monster of the monsters, but I'm telling y'all, folks, stop with the condemning black folks. Look at Jonathan Majors, the girlfriend, she dropped the charges. Not only, I mean, not to drop the charge, dropped the lawsuit. Essentially, right, saying, admitting there's nothing there. There's nothing there. Everybody jumped on Jonathan Majors. Now, we saw also as Lauren Burke, she was going crazy about this, the video of the girl chasing him. And a lot of black folks join into. Oh, that guy, man. And I was skeptical of him. I'm still kind of skeptical of the guy, but that's, I don't know him personally. But when it comes to these court stuff, folks, I said it, even the Bill Cosby thing. Now, a lot of people say, yeah, he did, and he may have. But the way that trial ran, and the Supreme Court agreed, they ran an illegal trial. They ran an illegal trial. And that's what happened here with Jussie Smollett. This case, that second trial was illegal. Supreme Court said so. So y'all got to cool out. Folks got to cool out on condemning black men so quickly, and black women for that matter. You got to stop it. And so you see the case resolved, and it's on page 27. But during the case, it was on page 1. And that's the other thing. Come on. We got to do better. Must do better. So the Donald Trump has openly declared he would rule as a dictator from his first day in office. And there's a bill that was passed yesterday that essentially seals that deal for him, allows him to be, that could empower him to be just that, a dictator. And here's the perhaps not so shocking part of it. 15 Democrats in the House supported the bill. It's called the Stop Terror Financing and Tax Penalties on American Hostages Act. The title, innocuous, very, very innocuous, right? But reading the bill, HR 9495, it grants the Treasury Secretary unilateral authority to label nonprofits as terrorist supporting organizations. Folks, you got to think about this. There are a lot of nonprofits. And what it would do is strip them of their tax exempt status without any due process. Critics argue that the legislation opens the door for abuse with devastating consequences for free speech and democracy. Representative Lloyd Doggett, he's a Democrat out of Texas, he called the bill a step forward for authoritarianism. Did I say that right? He says a tyrant tightens his grip not just by seizing power, but by demanding new powers. And when those who can stop him willingly cede and bend to his will, terrible. And there are provisions in this bill that have been, you can read more. I wrote about it at WashingtonInformer.com. And eventually, it's on our internal news wire. So eventually, some other newspapers in our family will pick it up. But the provision has been compared to laws used by authoritarian regimes in countries like Hungary and Nicaragua, where similar measures have silenced dissent and forced organizations to close. Critics, including the ACLU, say it would allow any president to target nonprofits just because they could bypass judicial safeguards that are already in place based on this bill. It combines this bill on unrelated measures and includes tax relief provisions for Americans held unjustly abroad. Opponents note that those provisions could easily be passed as standalone legislation without granting the Treasury Department these new powers. Representative Doggett said this is not about fighting terrorism. It's about handing Donald Trump the authority to decide who is a terrorist. That, folks, is a very, very, very important fact. And think about what he said. It allows Donald Trump the authority to decide who is a terrorist. He can just declare Orrin G is a terrorist. Michelle Madison is a terrorist. And then you're done because he declared. 15 Democrats. And that's the thing, folks. This is why you lie down with dogs and you get fleas. 15 Democrats supported this measure, knowing full well that it advances Trump's wish of being a dictator on day one. In fact, um, this bill, speaking of dictators, has been described as, quote, a dictator's dream. Representatives Henry Queller of Texas, Jared Golden of Maine were the main two Democrats to support this bill. House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries has been called out too for failing to rally the Democrats more forcefully against the bill. Of course, Hakeem voted against it. And even Jim McGovern, the Democrat out of Massachusetts, was in disbelief that 15 Democrats, that any Democrat would go for this. He said the road to fascism is paved with a million little votes that slowly erode our democracy and make it easier to go after anyone who disagrees with the government. The ACLU and over 180 organizations, including Planned Parenthood and the NAACP, had issued severe rebukes of this bill. And because the bill is going to allow the Treasury Department just start shutting down nonprofits. And this is why you guys heard me go on this rant before about once the election was over and how you had CEOs and leaders of organizations, especially Black themed, Black focused, Black organizations, not talk to their employees, not get a feel of what their employees might be feeling, and not offering any direction on how to move forward and how we're going to move forward. And then you see something like this, and again, while they've issued statements, I'm pretty sure Derek Johnson has spoken to uh, members of the ACLU about this. I mean, of the NAACP about this. I'm sure the ACLU obviously have spoken because this is serious. This is some serious stuff. This president will be able to point at you if you have anything resembling a nonprofit organization and say, close it down. And you can say, why? I'm going to fight it in court. And then the Treasury Department steps in and says, nope, here's that bill that the House passed saying that you have no rights. This guy is king. He is Saddam Hussein. So, folks, it's a problem. It's a problem. And this could be devastating to organizations who, when there's storms, the Red Cross and others, and you saw a precursor to that with FEMA, right? FEMA is a federal organization, but just to give you a yardstick, they made false claims that, oh, they are avoiding, um, they're either avoiding MAGA folks or they are giving all the aid to illegals. And these were false claims, but it doesn't matter come January 20th what claim may be false or not. It doesn't matter. You've decided to have, as I said, Idi Amin, Saddam Hussein, Kim Jong-un, really Vladimir Putin run this country. And in reality, he and Elon Musk. Whoopi said Elon is the true vice president, but there was someone else who said no, he's co-president. And my thing is prove them wrong. Prove them wrong. You can't, because that is the fact. It's whatever Elon says. And then, yeah, Donald Putin. I like that, Mike V. And then you go back to how Vladimir Putin, and it doesn't show you, Putin sent a message to Trump. You know, it was a message, right? That we know that Trump, that's the one person other than Elon, that Trump will kiss their rings. And Putin, because everything that runs through Russian state television has to be approved or ordered by Vladimir Putin. And did you notice what he did as a reminder once Trump got elected? They posted all these nude pictures of Melania on Russian state television, on the news. They posted all these nude pictures, including her with other women. It was a message. Say, remember, who's your boss? Who's your daddy? Trump has not said, he didn't say a word about it, still hasn't. It's been a week or so ago. He won't. He won't. If CNN would have done it, they know that they would have to close the tents up come January 20th. In fact, CNN is, MSNBC is concerned about that. They're going to have to shut it all down. They have this thing in the works where they're splitting up MSNBC for NBC and CNBC, whatever, and it has to go through government approval. And now they're concerned because if they don't do this split up, they're going to lose probably billions of dollars. And so they're concerned now about that, and which is partly why I'm sure, or maybe a big reason why they sent Scarborough and Mika to go kiss the ring. And who knows? Maybe maybe the Secret Service told Joe, "Hey, you got to wait downstairs. The Don wants to see Mika upstairs." Who knows? Who knows? I have no respect for them. None. I have no respect for. I worked at NBC a long time ago, and did the Scarborough show a few times, and I didn't know what to think of Joe then. I didn't know him well. I'd see him. I was on his show a few times, and I'd see him in the hallways. Didn't really have a lot of conversation with him. Didn't know Mika at all. I don't know if she was even there. I don't remember her being there, but maybe she was, but didn't know what to make of him. Now I know 100% what to make of him. Representative James Clyburn, along with Ayanna Pressley and Congresswoman Mary Gay Scanlon, had led 60 of their colleagues in sending a letter to President Biden urging him to use his executive clemency power in the final months of his presidency to reunite families, address longstanding injustices in the legal system, and set the nation on the path toward ending mass incarceration. The lawmakers hosted a press conference to discuss the letter. And they say that now is the time to use your clemency authority to rectify unjust and unnecessary criminal laws passed by Congress and draconian sentences given by judges. The grant of pardons and commutations and the restoration of rights will undoubtedly send a powerful message across the country in support of fundamental fairness and furthering meaningful criminal justice reforms. In other words, Joe, you sabotaged Kamala. You kissed the ring last week at the White House. Now do something for us. Because mass incarceration still is a persistent systemic injustice that continues to erode the soul of America, Joe. Remember that? You said you were fighting for the soul of America? The nation still and has always had the highest incarceration rate in the world, with nearly 2 million mostly black folks locked in jails and prisons throughout the country. It's so bad that 1 in 2 adults have had an incarcerated family member. And so they're asking you to do something that you have the power to do. That really, if you were at all concerned, you would have already began to do. In their letter, they outline the financial toll of mass incarceration on um, especially poor people. Of course, mass incarceration means that folks, there's so many private prisons and then government run as well. Of course, they're getting richer and richer, and they're only going to get uh, more wealthy because MAGA in chief said he's going to be locking folks up left and right, if not shooting them outright. So this is Cheryl Brown says it's all about that money, that profit. She says the fact that Melania won't be living at the White House says a lot too. Joyce Beatty, Sanford Bishop, Chantel Brown, Corey Bush, Andre Carson, Troy Carter, Yvette Clarke, Jasmine Crockett, of course, and so many others. Stephen Horsford were involved, all signed this letter, which is supported again by the ACLU, also the Center for Popular Democracy, the Last Prisoner Project, the Lawyers Committee for Civil Rights Under Law, Death Penalty Action, the National Council for Incarcerated and Formerly Incarcerated Women and Girls, and several other organizations. Like B says, the prison industrial complex. Yeah, you see they passed laws too, or they kept laws, or voted for laws, even in California, where they did not want the words slavery basically taken out of the language, that these prisoners were considered slaves to slave labor. So as we noted, Matt Gaetz has dropped out as Donald Trump's nominee for Attorney General. He claims, he says, I had an excellent meeting with senators, and I appreciate their thoughtful feedback and the incredible support of so many. While the momentum was strong, it is clear that my confirmation was unfairly becoming a distraction to the critical work of the Trump man's transition. There is no time to waste on a needlessly protracted Washington scuffle. Thus, I'll be withdrawing my name from consideration to serve as Attorney General. He says Trump's DOJ must be in place and ready on day one. And of course, he remains fully committed to see that Trump is a successful dictator. But the problem is Matt Gaetz, what he did not say, and what happened yesterday was we know about the House Committee and the Ethics Committee and all of these reports of his balances. Is that how you say it? With underage girls. But one other report was about to hit with Getz and a 17-year-old and another woman in a drug-fueled, can we say three-way on this platform? But that's really, and he said to the committee when that was about to explode, could you give me an hour? And within 45 minutes, he said, I'll step out. I'll step. The floodgates was about to open on this guy. And his MAGA friends like Marjorie Taylor Greene were fighting against releasing any information about his um, alleged sexual assaults of underage girls. And there are several reports that say eyewitnesses, including uh, a money trail that shows that he paid people for sex, people who were not of age to consent. So this guy, this is the guy that you pick to be the head of law enforcement, the face of law enforcement in the country. And you, folks, as it's like I saw, like Tony Randy always uses this phrase, and I'm sure so many other people use it, but I see her when I hear the phrase. They are truly playing in your face. They are playing hard in your face. Um, so Donald Trump immediately picked this Pam Bondi as his new choice for the DOJ's top job. And she's of course, she was, at least she has some credentials, right? She was Florida's Attorney General from 2011 to 2019. And she had previously worked on Trump's commission focused on ending the opioid crisis and combating drug addiction. She's currently a partner at the lobbying firm of Ballot Partners, and of course, she uh, was the one who led the chant against Hillary Clinton, "Lock her up," in 2016. She's another one who was involved too in trying to overturn the 2020 election. Um, and folks, look, once again, if you had any doubts, or if you chose to believe Donald Trump when he was running, saying, "Oh, I don't know about Project 2025. That's not my thing." Um, just about everybody that he is aligning himself with and putting in his cabinet is Project 2025 authors, people who've helped uh, create Project 2025, and those on the transition team are basically all a part of Project 2025. They were all involved in it. So, um, I mean, he just picked this Russ Vaught to be the director of, uh, well, he was the former Office of Management and Budget, and he's the author of, he's one of the authors of Project 2025, and he is part of the transition team. Paul Dans, somebody else on the transition team, Project 2025. And you can go down the list. You can go down the list of folks with Project 2025. And all of his picks to lead these different departments are all about Project 2025. And many of his picks are billionaires. Many of those he has aligned himself with. So you know it's coming too, as the Democrats did warn you. And Mike V says Don Bagnino as head of Secret Service, Project 2025. Mike V also says you don't see how Gates gets, or whatever you say, gets back into the House after the allegations. Who would want to work with him? MAGA will work with him. But I know that even some of those Republicans, but while they are repulsed, some of them don't like him. They don't care about his acts and the underage sex and stuff like that. They just don't like him. He is a very unlikable individual. as Marjorie Taylor Greene says, most of those Republicans, if not all, have paid off people that they've sexually abused or assaulted or had sexual relationships with. She says they've hidden crimes. She was ready to reveal it all if they stepped in Matt Gaetz's way. That was her words. So you see what you're dealing with. That's why at the top, Eric Dyson and his preaching, and those two young ladies, like, yeah, go ahead, preach, brother, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, save that. Save that. Go and do something productive instead of listening to Michael Eric Dyson preach. Let Michael Eric Dyson go lead something, lead some direction for what's to come. Leaders got to lead, y'all. Too many of y'all still very quiet. Makes you wonder what type of underhanded deal you trying to make to save yourself. You leaders, including Black leaders. Makes you wonder where you at. Where you at? I'm looking forward to talking. Actually, yeah, it probably kind of sound like a surprise coming from me. I'm looking forward to talking to Al Sharpton next week about this, because maybe he can give some insight. He's never one to shy away from saying something that you might think is controversial, and so we'll see. Looking forward to that conversation. I promise you, folks, it's gonna be a good one. I ran into him on the Excella train about a month ago, and we had a 15-minute conversation talking about things, um, and it was really interesting to me because, and I hope, in fact, I have no reason to believe he won't say a lot of the same things he said on that train to me, because it made a 1,000% sense. He was very, very direct and forceful about Trump and this incoming administration, et cetera, et cetera. So we'll see. We will see. I mean, look, I've run into several times. I've rode the train with Hakeem Jeffries and talked with him, and he's promised to come on the show, and nothing. I like Hakeem, but nothing. We've had some candid conversations on the train. I guess they feel like, okay, this is off the record, so we can. No, come on, bring it on the record, because people need to hear this stuff. We're other Black leaders. We need you all to step up. Like I said, from anybody who considers themselves a leader, a CEO, talk to your people. Talk to them. So, while many communities around the world have been wondering what to make of Donald Trump's presidential reelection, a village on the island of Sardinia has sniffed a potential opportunity. Like many other places in rural Italy, this place called, and I know I'm not going to pronounce this right, Greer, Ololai, has long been trying to persuade outsiders to move into and revive its fortunes after decades of depopulation. Now, this place, Ololai, they're selling homes. Most of them are dilapidated for just $1, $1. And following the election, they launched a website to try and attract Americans in particular. They offered up $1 homes, and they're hoping that they'll snap these empty properties. And on their website, are you warned or warned out by the global politics looking to embrace a more balanced lifestyle while securing new opportunities? They said it's time to start building your European escape in the stunning paradise of Sardinia. Mayor Francesco Colombo said the website was specifically created to attract American voters in the wake of the presidential election. He says he loves the United States and is convinced Americans are the best people to help revive his community. He says we just really want and will focus on Americans above all. We can, of course, ban people from other countries to apply, but Americans will have a fast track procedure. He says we are betting on them to help us revive the village. They are our winning card, he said. He wants you to come and says the village is now offering 3 tiers of accommodation: free temporary homes to certain digital nomads, $1 homes that are in need of repair, and ready to occupy houses for prices of about $105,000, no more than $105,000. The mayor says he set up a special team to guide interested buyers through every step of the purchase, from organizing tailored private tours of the available dwellings to finding contractors for you. Also finding builders and helping you navigate required paperwork. They will help you with it all. The mayor says that photos and plans of available empty properties will soon be uploaded to the website. Now, this is a place with a population of 1,300 about. They don't really, babies are not born there. Only a couple of babies are born each year in that town or village. The mayor said that many families did leave the village during tough economic times in search of work and better lives. And so that's why you have about 1,150 residents at the moment. But he says while the village may be desperate to lure newcomers in an attempt to stop depopulation, the offer of preferential treatment to Americans, he understands that might seem a little bit controversial. The mayor says U.S. citizens will be favored. And he talked about passports, and of course, he says we can't specifically mention the name of one U.S. president who just got elected, but we all know that he's the one from whom many Americans want to get away from now and leave the country. We have specifically created this website now to meet U.S. post-elections relocation needs. The mayor is a funny guy. He says the website has been flooded with recently with about 38,000 requests for information on the houses. And he says those requests have mostly come from the good old USA. And so he says, I quote, "We are really looking to create a platform that caters to U.S. citizens and to group together our various projects." So, folks, Olalai, how do you say it? OLLOLAI. They are uh, saying, "Come on down. The price is right." They they want to pay to rent homes from local families for remote workers. They pay about $350 a month for multi-floor 2-bedroom dwellings. Utility bills and council taxes are also covered. That they're going to do all that. They're going to cover those as well. So they really want you to come. Michelle Madison says Baltimore had $1 home programs. However, it came with many requirements and stipulations. Detroit, for a while, had $1 homes as well when they were trying to revive that city. And she mentions that Johns Hopkins once purchased a lot of land in the hood. Now, houses that were worth about $18,000 are now going for over $1 million. I don't know. Italy, to some people, Italy sounds good, especially now. And so, just to wrap that up, they said there are no demographic requirements for U.S. applicants. They can be people of all ages, even those on pensions, remote workers, or entrepreneurs who wish to open a small business in the village. Now, the town is off the beaten track. which they say it could be ideal for those who want to unplug and live a simpler life. It's located in the Wow Mountain region, rises on a patch of land where ancient farming traditions live on to this day. And they say it has fresh, pollution-free air, very few crowds, and the greatest of views. In the fall, during an event known as Cortez Apertas, which means open courtyards, you have stables and ancient turf taverns open to the public, offering wine, ham, cheese, and other. I like charcuterie stuff. I don't know. Maybe I got to look into it, Pam. The area is famous for its locally produced cheese. They also have this mass carnival with goat-like costumes and archaic rituals that is held in February every year. Daniela Pierre is going there. She said she's curious to know if they have a Popeyes or a Church's Chicken. I am done after that one, Daniela. We got to check that out. Maybe you can open a Popeyes or Church's Chicken franchise there. Probably would be pretty popular, right? Jeez, Popeyes or Church's Chicken of all things. Churches, not churches. That churches is you can only find churches in the hood, right? Right, Daniela? You could it has to be like, I mean, there gotta be projects around. This guy that people, it gotta be areas with fire, those little fire hydrants, they open and the water running out in the street. Come on, Church's Chicken. Didn't a black man own Church's Chicken? Church's Chicken. That's amazing. Folks, it is the weekend, so whatever you plan to do it in a way that is mindful of not only others, but your own safety and health. And be safe. We know that the holiday is coming up too. And in some cases, some people, this is the last day of work for some people until after the holiday. So enjoy whatever you choose to do, but do it wisely. And come back on Monday and join Let It Be Known News. And we'll see you then.